if it isn't the walking, talking glory hole.
Hey, John and Jeff here. Thanks for listening to another episode of
Total Nonstop Impact, Impact Talk for Impact fans.
And if you're not a regular subscriber, you can find us on iTunes. Hey, we'll be back in a few seconds with another episode. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, John and Jeff. This is Total Nonstop Impact, Impact Talk for Impact fans. We are talking about the August 9th, 2018 episode of Impact Wrestling. As always, I'm Kyle.
And I'm Trent.
Trent, how are you doing today, my man? It's been a while. We're back. They thought we were done. They thought we were fizzling out. We were dead, but we're back.
What's the famous quote, Kyle? Just when I thought I was out, they reeled me back in.
That's right.
So,
that's
we're
right.
back. We're back like a spine, like I say.
That's a good one. That's a good one there. Got to catch up with you though, man. How you been? How was the most recent AAW show? How'd that go? What was it called again?
It was called Jawbreaker.
Jawbreaker. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it was cool. It was over in we run a secondary town called LaSalle, Illinois. It's about 90 minutes south of Chicago. And people call it the B show for a bit, but it's nothing like a B show, man. We go all out. I mean, our main event was ACH and Jeff Cobb for the title. So man, it was good.
How did Kingston versus MVP go? That was the match I was looking forward to. Eddie Kingston versus MVP.
That was, you watch that match, and that's two guys who clearly watch All Japan Pro Wrestling from back in the day, the 80s and 90s. You can see it. Those are classic dudes, man. There was a great, hard-hitting heavyweight match.
Now, is the show available yet for me to watch?
It should be available next week on High Spots and Smart Mark Video for video on demand. So next week, you'll have it out.
Awesome, bro. So definitely, folks, check that out. AAW Jawbreaker. Trent was a part of it. Check it out. Support it. Got to support the indies, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, the indies make the TV. You know what I mean? How many guys on the AAW roster basically are on Impact? I mean, some people came up to me at the show and they're like, Impact's awesome. It's AAW on TV.
Exactly. But this isn't all about AAW here, folks. You know why we're here. You know what the bread and butter of the show is. Impact Wrestling, Impact on Pop. We're going to talk about last week's episode, August 9th, 2018. And we are also going to look forward to next week's episode. And we're going to do like a news section. You know what, folks? We're still figuring out exactly what we're doing here with this podcast. Every week you tune in. The show is a little different from the one before. The show is still in its infancy. We're still figuring it out. So this show is going to come at you a little differently. We're splitting the show up into like segments, if you will. You're going to have your intro. You're going to have your episode rundown. Then we're going to come back for a news segment and close out with the news. So you're going to get the intro, the episode recap, and the news, and then at the very end, we'll look forward to next week's episode, because you know what? You guys, you've watched the episode last week. Why are you going to sit here and listen to us do a review? It's tired. Everybody on the circuit is doing it. We're trying to do something different, more of a talk show, right, Trent?
Absolutely. And we're big. You and I have talked about being big talk show guys. You know, we love the talk shows.
And we got co-signed by John and Jeff in the intro of the show. The folks have no idea what was going on there, but we do. That was a co-sign by some of our favorites.
I would love to know if anybody listening to us knows who John and Jeff are.
Leave that in the comments. Leave that in the comments. If you've ever listened to John and Jeff, if you know who John and Jeff are, just let us know. We're curious.
I'm very curious. If you know who John and Jeff are, I will give you a bonus episode.
You'll get an exclusive podcast. We'll record it for you. We'll email it to you. No one else will ever hear it. It'll just be for you.
How about this? If you are a John and Jeff listener and you leave that in the comments, first person to leave that in the comments is John and Jeff listener, we will do an exclusive Impact-related podcast just for you. You pick the topic, and hey, Kyle, maybe we'll invite him to the show, man. Maybe we'll bring him on the show. What do you think?
Them or John and Jeff?
No, well, John and Jeff, I have no idea where they are anymore.
Well, that's also part of it. We have to hunt down John and Jeff. Their show isn't on anymore. Where are they? We have to find John and Jeff. Track them down.
We'll find John and Jeff, but if the person who's a John and Jeff fan who comments first, we'll bring him on the show for a little bit for an exclusive bonus cast.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Trent. But we can't talk too much about John and Jeff there. We got to get into the Impact. So, folks, we are going to take a quick little break. We're getting set up over here. Here's some little commercials from some friends of ours. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Impact Talk for Impact fans.
Hey yo, this is the Taxman inviting you all to check out the Six Sided Podcast. We're a weekly Impact Wrestling review show. We're also frequently joined by special guests, and we love interaction from all the Impact Wrestling fans. Throw us in your YouTube machine, give us a subscription, Six Sided Podcast. Also follow us on Twitter at 6_podcast. Boom.
Hey guys, this is Impact Dude from the Heelcast telling you to check us out on Impact's #1 wrestling fan site, ImpactAsylum.net, or subscribe to our channel on YouTube, iTunes, Android Play, or SoundCloud.
And we're back. That was a little word from the Heelcast, some podcasting buddies of ours, and also the Six Sided Podcast. Guy's becoming a permanent fixture of the show here, Mr. Taxman. I like Taxman.
Just keeping it real, as the kids say.
Man, I love Taxman. You guys had, in my absence last episode, you guys had some great chemistry. Taxman's cool. He's a nice guy. He's got a nice Canadian accent too.
Just keeping it real, as the kids say.
I love the Canadian accent, and last week I kept calling him an American by accident, but he's clearly Canadian. Clearly Canadian.
Clearly, he's 210% Canadian, and I got a bone to pick with both of you guys on the Desi Hit Squad thing again.
Oh no,
both mispronouncing. I already told Taxman I'm calling it out this episode. I said, Taxman, you can't be doing that, man. I gave it a definition. I broke it all down, and you guys are still disrespecting the great Gama Singh.
Well, you know what, Trent? The announcer on Impact isn't pronouncing it like that.
I know. Listen, everybody's against us brown guys. What can I say?
You're going to have to message the announcer yourself and let him know you got a bone to pick.
Is that I don't think that announcer is he's not front and center. I don't see that guy, ringside or anything, or I think he's a backstage, he's got a microphone.
Post-production maybe? I don't know.
No, I mean he's there for the live crowd, but I think he's not one of those announcers that sits ringside. Okay. I think it's just Don and Josh ringside.
No doubt. But let's get into last week's episode, the August 9th, 2018 edition of Impact Wrestling.
Yes, sir.
I grabbed the results from ImpactWrestling.com, so if there's something wrong, just let us know in the comments, but don't blame us. It's not our fault. Blame ImpactWrestling.com. I'm going to run down the card here very briefly, and then at the end, Trent, I'm going to ask you, your takeaways, your highlights, pros and cons, things you loved, things maybe you didn't like, you wanted to see a little differently, and then at the very end, we're going to look forward to next week's episode. But let's start at the top.
All right.
Show opens up with LAX and the OGs brawling in the backstage area, all-out mayhem, all-out gang shit, as Chef would say. All-out gangsta.
Just keeping it real, as the kids say.
Brawling all over the place. Hernandez reminded me of Rey Mysterio getting pelted into the wall back in the day. Hernandez gives one of the security guards a border toss right into the wall. Beautiful.
That was pretty cool. I did like that, actually.
Nice little brawl there. The OGs versus LAX. This is my favorite storyline going on in all of professional wrestling right now. Every week. I like the way they run it, though, because it's like 1 week you might get them in ring. Next week you might just get a promo. 1 week you might just get like a clubhouse thing in the LAX clubhouse. They're very good at milking out feuds and booking them properly and getting the most out of it.
Yeah, they really are, man. I like that you get those teasers every week. Like they're brawling, and there's something always furthering it every week. OGs get away, or they get the upper hand, or these guys let them slip away. There's something constantly fueling every week. That's the key. That's the key to a good long feud.
Yep. But this time the OGs walk away. Then we move along here. We get what is it, Trent? Desi. Okay. The Desi Hit Squad.
There you go, kiddo. There you go.
The Desi Hit Squad. That's Rohit, Raju, Gursinder, Singh, and Gama Singh versus Taiji, Ishimori, and Petey Williams. Taiji, Ishimori, and Petey Williams pick up the win. Then we get a Pentagon Jr. promo. And then we get our girl, Alisha Atout, Ambi. We love her. She actually retweeted us today. So thank you, Alisha. Thank you for the retweet, for responding to us. When you put us out there on your Twitter, it helps us get more listeners and more subscribers. So we appreciate you. Thank you, Alisha.
Thank you very much.
Alisha interviews Austin Aries in the backstage area. Aries says he's stepping into the ring with a different Eddie Edwards tonight. Aries wishes he was facing the old Eddie Edwards because he knows he could beat him up, but the new Edwards is unpredictable and dangerous. Aries guarantees he's going to come out on top tonight. Then we get Grado and Joe Hendry backstage reflecting on their loss to Eli Drake and Trevor Lee last week. Hendry reassures Grado that he'll take care of it when he faces Drake in a one-on-one rematch next week. Then we get some knockouts action. Alisha Edwards versus Tessa Blanchard. Tessa Blanchard, the bitch, picks up the win with a hammerlock DDT. After the match, Tessa says she knows Ali's true intention is to leapfrog everyone else and get another shot at the Knockouts Championship. Then we get Scarlett Bordeaux backstage. She's in the building with her personal assistant Bobo arriving to the arena. And more Alisha. Alisha's very heavy on this episode, Trent. We get a lot of Alisha on this episode. I'm not complaining.
No, Alicia's easy on the eyes, man. Alicia's great, and she's awesome at her job. Alicia's a good backstage interviewer. I think she has good chemistry with everybody, which is pretty cool. I think it's because she's interviewed him for Ambi and stuff, and I think she's developed a good rapport. So you can kind of see it naturally bouncing off everybody.
And she's a natural wrestling fan. She's not just somebody working a job on TV, just trying to be on TV any way they can. She's an actual wrestling fan. That's what I really appreciate about her. She's great. Her YouTube series is great. She's definitely Impact good get signing Alisha. Put it that way.
That's a good get. Good get. I agree.
She's talking to Matt Sydal backstage as he prepares to face Pentagon Jr. tonight. Sydal says he's going to prove that even though he lost the X Division Championship, he still has the spirit of a champion. Then we get Falaba and KM. They're going over their strategy for tonight in the back when Scarlett Bordeaux passes through. All of a sudden, they're at a loss for words. Ba lets out a ba, and KM says exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm not sick of the bas. I think you can keep going with the bas.
No, I love them, dude. Let's just say this. If this team was presented on like WWE, like a television show with millions and millions of viewers, I think that this is the type of team that kids clamor to and kids would fall in love with. Like, if KM and Fala were in the WWE, kids would just be obsessing over them. But Impact, more of a non-PG, edgy, would say male 18 to 35, demographic, that sort of thing. But we still love them. I've noticed all over social media, people are taking a liking to KM and Fala. They have that natural. Everyone keeps calling it like a buddy comedy type dynamic, and that's exactly what it is.
It reminds me that I could watch KM and Fala skits and be cool. Like, they don't even have to wrestle a match. I want just put them in skits and let me see them be goofs.
They're awesome. And I love the double barrel roll move, man.
Oh, the panda roll?
The panda roll, but when they both hit it, it's beautiful.
I do love how the panda like persona just kind of came out of nowhere. Because I don't think anybody called him a panda or anything back before, right? That was never like a thing. And all of a sudden, I think he did that roll move, like that steamroller thing, one time back in Florida, and somebody called it like the Panda Express.
Yeah, I actually saw when I went to a PWS show a couple of years back. there was a Follow Ba t-shirts in the crowd, and it was like a Panda Express logo, but it was like parodied to be a Follow Ba t-shirt. Maybe the guy likes eating at Panda Express.
So he's been doing the Panda Express thing. Okay, I didn't know that.
No, pre-Impact. That's been one of his shticky gimmicks.
All right, cool. So Follow Ba, Filipino guy, who's doing a Chinese restaurant takeaway.
No doubt. But they're backstage when Scarlett Bordeaux passes through. They all get all, but they're not stuttering, folks. It's not a disability thing. It's a nervousness thing.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Can I take the floor for a second here?
Yes,
on that.
Chime in, because it was a hot topic on last week's podcast.
All right, so I don't know much. I saw this briefly, and some guy crying about it or whatever. Can I swear on this? Can I go a little crazy right now, Kyle? Are you giving me the green light?
Trent, rant. Green light rant.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. Fuck that guy, man. Fuck that.
Whoa, that's not nice, man. He's got a disability.
Fuck him, man. Okay, you got a disability. You're gonna make it Impact's problem, and that's the typical bullshit that companies like Impact, or any company for that matter, doesn't fucking need, man. This guy went digging for a problem. Everybody who's got any goddamn sense knows that whole thing with Bobo was a nervous nerd who never gets a chick, stuttering and getting bumbly when a hot chick is talking to him. That in no way was making fun of anybody with a stutter. If anybody derived anything out of that more than just a dork being like nervous in front of a hot girl, you're reaching for something. You can go fuck yourself, because that's bullshit. And I'm sorry, man. I know I'm going really out there on this, but it pissed me off when you told me how far it got, and he's tagging like rights activist groups and shit.
That was the issue. You know what? It's one thing if it's like, hey man, I got a disability. I think they made some fun there. I'm a little offended. I didn't really like that. That ruffled my feathers. That's one thing. But when you put it out there on Twitter and tag like 10 different like stuttering advocacy groups, like basically what you're trying to do is don't even pretend that you're not. There's no way around it. You're trying to put fire under Impact and get them to feel some backlash. And it's like, How do you call yourself a fan and supporter? I mean, let's be honest here. We all know Impact hasn't had the best luck with, public relations and just business conflicts behind the scenes. Why would you try to light the fire under them? There's other ways to go about it. You could have emailed people. You could have emailed the company. You could have tweeted at the company. But to kind of like be like, oh, I'm going to tag all these people and they're going to get you guys in trouble. It's like, what are you really asking for? Are you just asking for attention just to exploit it?
That's what he was doing, man. That is the kind of typical horse shit that people cause problems with. Like, dude, he wasn't out to, to get any sympathy or any. That guy was out to cause trouble to get himself a little bit of attention.
Hey, I stutter all the time, man. I come on here on the show after smoking too much weed. I stutter all the time. You don't see me tagging advocacy groups trying to get Impact pulled off TV.
I saw what the Impact Army did. We all jumped. The folks jumped on him and told him he's a moron. So I'm glad. This is nonsense. Are we good?
Yeah. That's. I think you've.
You can go fuck yourself.
You've explained yourself very well. That's.
But you can go fuck yourself.
We're gonna.
But you can go fuck yourself.
Feel some heat for that one. Some advocacy groups might be coming after the Total Nonstop Impact show. But hey, Trent spoke his mind. He said what he had to say.
That shit pisses me off, man, because he wasn't trying to just say, like you said, he could have tweeted at the company and said, "Hey, man, that bothered me as a guy who stutters." But no, he didn't do that. He went to get it. You can go fuck yourself. Knowing what the damn skit was. That's the thing that bothers me. You know what that shit was. You didn't try to, you weren't trying to understand or like get it. You just tried to cause problems for this company. And why? You're going to cause problems and bad PR for all those people that you claim to be a fan of? But you can go fuck yourself. Nonsense, man. Those people suck. And that guy sucks. But you can go fuck yourself.
Trent, that's enough. Let's move along here. You've made yourself very clear. All right, let's move along here.
Go. I had to get that off my mind. Dude, I didn't even see it, man. You told me about it. And I got pissed off.
Oh, man.
That's how it goes.
We have Scarlett Bordeaux backstage talking to management. She tells them she's not comfortable wrestling a match because she feels the female talent has been mean to her since she's arrived in Impact. Management suggests that she starts her own show instead, appropriately named The Smoke Show. The first episode airs next week. There was some controversy about this, Trent. I'm going to be honest with you. I still follow Ring of Honor here and there. I was a big fan of it a couple of years ago. I don't know, over time I got more into Impact and just stopped paying attention to other wrestling companies. No big deal. I have nothing against Ring of Honor, but I don't really follow that scene. I've never watched like Being the Elite. Maybe I might have seen it once or twice, but apparently there's a skit in the Being the Elite show on YouTube. And apparently, whatever it is, it's something very similar to what we saw, just the hands, the way the camera is, you only see the hands of the people talking, the whole management thing. I really don't know. I can't really get into it because I have no idea. But I just saw all over the internet people were trying to say that Impact stole something from Being the Elite. Can you shed any light on this, Trent?
I don't watch Being the Elite either, so I didn't catch it. I just thought it was funny, and I thought it was from what I kind of briefly, vaguely remember, the hands thing is like a throwback to like something in old cinema and old TV or something.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of on Seinfeld back in the day. One of George's bosses, you never actually saw him. It was Steinbrenner. You never actually saw Steinbrenner. It was just the voice of Larry David. And then Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara, they picked up the concept. Remember the Powers That Be in WCW?
Yep.
Same sort of concept. I don't think that Impact, maliciously stole from Being the Elite. I think it was a bit of a coincidence. And, I mean, look at how many people affiliated with Impact are close to Ring of Honor in New Japan. Don Callis works for New Japan. I don't think that it was a matter of them stealing. Kind of a coincidence, but whatever it was, Trent, I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny. It was just some good comical shit that I would like to see them continue with that. I'd like that to be consistent throughout the episodes. Like instead of, the regular authority figure, big bad, and then, someone tries to go over the authority figure, then there's a power struggle. This is kind of fun, it's just a goofy little thing in there. I'm on board with it.
Yeah, I liked it. It was funny, the hands. It reminds me of like old sketch type of comedy. It was goofy. It was very entertaining, especially Scarlett's awesome. The way she acts, the way she plays into it. She's fun, man, and she knows how to play that up. And I liked it. It was a really good skit. It was a lot of fun.
How do you feel about Scarlett getting her own show next week? The Smoke Show, kind of her own fact of life, her own Piper's Pit. Her own little show.
Listen, I think Scarlett, people like to look at her. You give her a segment to herself, and it's money, man. And she's good on the mic. I know Scarlett for a while from AEW, so this is a girl who is meant to do this, man.
Oh, yeah.
She's good at what she does.
And we are talking wrestling fans here, so Jergens hand lotion stock has risen tremendously since the signing of Scarlett Bordeaux in Impact Wrestling. Oh, jeez. Jeez. But let's move it along here, Trenty. Matt Sydal versus Pentagon Jr. Pentagon picks up the win. Fun match here. Love Matt Sydal. Love Pentagon. Rumors are going around that Pentagon and Ray Phoenix are headed for that godforsaken McMahon land. Have you heard anything, Trent? Do you know anything? You got any scoops?
What's good in the hood?
No hot news, no scoops. We'll call them scoops on this show. Yeah. I got no scoops. I've heard the same thing, man. I think it's horse shit. I think that company just signs people so nobody else can have them. And they do nothing with them. They do nothing of value with them. It's not worth a shit. Yeah. And it's unfortunate if they go, those guys are so hot all over the world or the country, really. And, in other countries, and just how much presence those two have right now and how much they mean to Impact, Lucha, AAA, Aero Lucha, you name it. And to take them away, MLW, and to take them away from all that, just to get them so nobody else can, which is what the WWE likes to do.
What's good in the hood?
It sucks, man. And I hope it's not true. Yeah. I hope it. I haven't heard any confirmations yet.
Well, there was rumors last year floating around that this year or next year they're putting together some sort of Mexican tournament like they did a United Kingdom tournament, and I understand, if they're doing something Lucha Libre, you want to sign best luchadors in the United States. You look no further than Pentagon and Rey Fenix. My issue is with it, Trent. Hold on, cough button here. My issue is with it, Trent. I don't work for any wrestling company. I have no, affiliations with the business. I am strictly a fan. I am strictly a consumer. That being said, I don't want to see Pentagon and Phoenix leave Impact Wrestling and go to WWE because the style that they wrestle, WWE is not, they're not taking that risk. They're not going there with that. You're not going to see the package pile driver on WWE television. They're going to neuter these guys. And as a consumer, as a fan, as somebody who watches the products, I just don't want to see that for them. But I won't, deny that WWE is the grand mecca. It's the biggest company in the world. It's the WrestleMania. I get all that. But as a fan, I don't want to see these guys leave Impact. No, not anytime soon. And a fun match here, though. Matt Sydal attempts the shooting star, but Pentagon gets his knees up. Pentagon follows up with a Fear Factor package pile driver, catches the win. Fun match there.
Hey, you want a cool drinking game? Take a shot every time Sydal says something about his third eye or points to the third eye, or Penta says "Cero miedo." Take a shot. You'll be drunk by the end of hour one.
All right, I'm gonna keep that as a little snippet there. I'm even gonna repost that on the Instagram page as like a quick cut. The official We Talk Impact drinking game right there.
There you go. We can call it the official Impact drinking game. Every time these Cero miedos or the words third eye are mentioned by Matt Sydal, take a shot.
Hopefully these people are drinking real booze and not the fake stuff like you loser.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, I like the near beer, the fake stuff, the water with taste. What can I say?
Oh, no, I'm just beating on you, Trent. Somebody's got to buy that shit. Better it be you.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. I did a little punching earlier. I did a little sparring with that guy. You can go fuck yourself. I could take a couple of hits myself from my co-host.
You can take a couple bumps. You can take a couple hits.
You can go fuck yourself. I got a couple bumps in the bump card I can take. Why not?
Oh yeah. Let's move it along here though, Trent. Let's keep it moving. I'm liking this. I like this style, the way we're doing this here. Instead of dissecting and overanalyzing every aspect of the show, we're moving along here, and the tangents open themselves. It's like the discussion allows for tangents.
Yeah.
I'm digging it.
It does.
I'm digging it, Trent. I'm digging it. Moving along, though. After the match, we see footage from the OVE cam. I'm a huge mark for the OVE cam, Trent. You're a huge mark for the OVE cam. We're a bunch of OVE marks around here.
Big fan.
Big fan. We see embarrassed after having his head shaved by Pentagon at Slammiversary, Sammy tells Jake and Dave that one of them has to shave their head too. Dave refuses, so Jake offers himself up. He'll take one for the team. Callahan decides that since Dave flat out refused, he should be the one to have his head shaved. Callahan forces Jake to start shaving Dave's head as the feed cuts out. Hopefully it gets back to that, and we see the end result of haircuts by Callahan. Callahan cuts.
Callahan cuts. Only
like
$9.99. Backstage at Impact.
I like that. And we get LAX in the ring after their show opening brawl with the OGs. Yay. Conan calls them out, and they appear up high in the balcony. I loved how they popped up in the balcony. That was really cool.
That's cool to make use of the arena a little more.
I love the Rebel Complex, man. That is the coolest looking arena on TV in any wrestling show. It doesn't matter that it's not like the size of the Madison Square Garden. It really doesn't. For what it is, it's cool. It's not huge, so they can pack the people in. But it's that ceiling, man. The lights everywhere. The logos. It's beautiful.
That spiral screen thing where all the logo is on. That thing is so badass. I know. I'm gonna take an educated guess that they're getting a ton of stock photos in that room, like during these tapings, like roster pics, full wide shots, the big ring shots.
Oh, they're doing knockouts. I already saw they did some knockouts photo shoots right there at the Rebel.
You have to, dude. That room. Take full advantage of being in that room.
Beautiful. Good get by Impact. Talking about good gets, the Rebel Complex, Rebel Entertainment Complex in Toronto. Good get.
100%.
But you know what? We go back here to LAX and the OGs. King challenges LAX to finish the war in the streets. That's right, a street fight. They're taking it to the streets. Now, on a professional wrestling television show, when it says street fight, rarely ever do you see people actually fight in the streets.
True.
I can't wait to see this. From what I understand, from what I heard, this isn't something that starts in the Impact Arena and spills out. This is some off-site, think back to like the Broken Universe or anything that's filmed, on a different location. So this is going to be a treat. It's going to be a mini movie within the show. I can't wait to see it.
Listen, the little clip I saw, I'm already psyched. These are the type of things, like what they did here, with this whole LAX OGs feud, some of the earlier Decay stuff from back in the day, the Broken Heart, the stuff that's like these mini movies. I would do anything if they would put out compilations of all this stuff. I could watch this stuff, man. I'm telling you, I can just their production is so good. I can just watch this stuff. This stuff is like a movie.
And moving along here, Trent, we get Jimmy Jacobs cutting a promo. He says that if Johnny Impact wants the monster so badly, then he's going to get him next week. But he's not referring to Congo Kong. He's talking about himself. Next week, we get Jimmy Jacobs versus Johnny Impact. Just finally get to see Jimmy Jacobs wrestle on Impact TV. Hopefully.
The debut match for Jimmy, right?
Hopefully. I don't know what's going to happen, but I hope that's how it goes.
Yeah, no spoiler zone here, man. No spoilers.
I don't follow him. I don't follow the spoilers, but I know that he hasn't been wrestling at all in Impact Wrestling. So in the back of my mind, there was the thought of, what if he goes out there and then Congo pops up out of nowhere? We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Jimmy can go, man. Jimmy Jacobs. Haven't seen him for years. He's an AEW guy as well. I see Jimmy a lot. So Jimmy Jacobs, he's got a little gas in that tank.
He's an indie darling. I'd call him an indie darling.
He's been darling for a while.
True seasoned veteran. Seasoned veteran. He's been on the scene for a long, long time. One of the most creative minds in the business today.
Yeah, I agree, man. Jimmy's a sharp dude. Quick sidebar. I was present for we were filming a segment for AEW, and it involved Jimmy and a guy he's managing in AEW named Brody King, and kind of similar role with the Congo thing. It's like the big monster guy, and we were producing a segment, and Jimmy went into full producer mode to kind of enhance the segment a little bit and make it better and kind of throw more ideas at it and whatnot. And I'm just watching him in the zone, and that dude was like blowing my mind. And I was like, "Oh, this is cool, man. This is fucking cool."
So you actually watched him flip the switch and go into full creative genius mode.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Jacobs has an amazing mind for the business.
Jimmy Jacobs, amazing. Give him a round of applause for Jimmy. Round of applause for Jimmy. One of the best.
Little Vince Russo clap. Little Vince Russo
One of the
clap
best.
there.
One of the best. Move along here, though. We get moving closer to the end of the show here. Main event time. We get World Champion Austin Aries versus Eddie Edwards. The Impact World Championship is on the line. Austin Aries picks up the W because we get a little interference, Trent. We get Killer Kross. What is Killer Kross doing here? Why is he helping out Austin Aries? Why is he siding with Austin Aries? Austin Aries is a dick. I wouldn't want to be friends with Austin Aries, but Killer Kross isn't too much of a non-dick himself, so this might work out. This might be a good team. What's your takeaway here on Killer Kross and Austin Aries linking up?
A lot of questions. Got a lot of questions. Again, like you said, what's the link? What's the purpose? Does Austin Aries need him? Does he need Austin Aries? What's the Killer Kross out for? What is he doing here? They look cool together though. You know what I'm saying? They kind of had a cool look though. When he was kind of had his hands, Kross had his hands spread, and he was kind of standing behind Aries. I'm like, these two kind of look pretty fucking cool together, man. They had a good look. And I was like, from a visual aesthetic point of view, it's pretty cool. Where it goes from there, I have no idea. But aligning a new guy with your hood ornament of the company, your champ, That's a pretty big endorsement, I think. They got a lot of. I think they got a lot of faith in Killer Cross. What do you think?
I'm totally with you there, man. You can totally see across social media that Impact is investing in Killer Cross, and he is somebody that they are definitely pushing, and they are going to push into the future. I think that he's going to be a big name associated with Impact Wrestling moving forward. I know he's from Lucha Underground. I know he's from the Indies, but I think he's going to be known as an Impact homegrown talent moving forward in the same class as like an EC3, an Eric Young. You know what I'm saying, Trent?
Yeah, I think so. I think Killer Cross is a long-term guy. There's a lot of there seems to be a lot of investment in him already. And I think
he looks great. He's great on the camera. He's a great promo. The guy has everything.
No, he looks awesome. That dude. There's something very polarizing about him. You know, you see him, you're like, I want to know what this guy does or says or what he's doing or something. Yeah, the guy is mysterious, and you kind of want to know more every time you see him. And he's good. And he's good in the ring.
Well, he hits Eddie Edwards with the Doomsday Saito. How do you say that? Saito? Is that it? Saito?
Saito, yeah.
The Doomsday Saito hits Eddie with that. Then Aries follows up with his good old brainbuster as the referee recovers. Aries pins Eddie to retain his title. And Killer Cross has sided with Austin Aries. Good match there, though. It was a fun one. How do you feel about Eddie Edwards now? Is he out of the picture? Is he done? Or is he still a contender, Trent?
Nah, no more title. I think he had his title run.
Where does he go now? Where does he go on the card now?
I think actually, I wouldn't mind seeing Eddie take on Killer Cross.
Okay. All right.
You know?
Not bad,
Eddie,
not bad.
That could be a good feud because it's a big name for Cross to get mixed up with.
Fits with the storytelling. Gets Eddie away from the title.
Gets Eddie away from the title. Eddie can kind of display some more of this harder edge he's got. It's like Eddie's a psychopath. Killer Cross is a sociopath. You can market it like that. I mean, it's psycho versus socio at this point.
Not bad.
That could be cool, man.
But hell of an episode, Trent. I had a lot of fun watching it. Thumbs up. I'm not doing the rating system anymore. None of that. No more grades. It was a great episode. Good matches, good promos, good vignettes. Everything was there for a reason. Impact is killing it.
Impact's killing it, man.
Any highlights here, Trent? Takeaways? Let me ask you this, Trent. What was your favorite moment in the show before we take a commercial, close out the review?
I gotta say, for me, I'm talking the OG's LAX segment. It's consistently the hottest segment of the show, man.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I totally agree. That's my pick as well. The brawl that they opened up the show. I'm a big fan personally of crazy brawls opening up wrestling shows. I'm a big fan of that. I'd much rather see that than a long microphone segment in the ring. But LAX 5150, OG's 730. Best storyline in wrestling today. Let's face it, folks.
Here's the thing: when you watch Eddie and Conan have the verbal joust, or in the LAX, the young
Glory
guy.
hole. I love the glory hole chant.
Oh, the glory hole is ridiculous. He's what do you call him? A walking glory hole? A human glory hole?
Yeah. I mean, walking, talking glory hole or human glory hole. I don't know, but we got the chant, the glory hole chant. That's becoming a permanent fixture of Impact Wrestling. That's what I'm talking about.
They're so real. Like when you watch it, you're like, man, these guys. I mean, the way like Santana and Ortiz freak out and they're just pissed off. Like this. I lose myself in it, and I watch. I go, man, this really is like. They really kind of have beef. Like I forget for a second, like it's a show, and I get so into it, and they hook me, man. They really hook me with this stuff, and it's so. And Eddie Kingston is one of the most real guys on the microphone today. I've been fortunate to see him at AEW. The dude is so authentic. You know what I'm saying? And that comes through on camera, man.
I have a treat for the listeners. If you're a big fan of Eddie Kingston, you might have seen it already, but chances are you haven't. It's kind of a underground, obscure punk rock sort of thing. There's a show, it started out on public access in Manhattan here in New York called The Chris Gethard Show. Worked its way up to True TV. The show just ended. This last season was the finale. It's done. R.I.P. Chris Gethard Show. I was a big fan of it for years, and there's one episode from 2014 where Eddie Kingston is the special guest on the show, and the whole episode is about cutting promos, and people call in. It's just really, really good. So go on our Twitter page, We Talk Impact. Scroll down a little bit. I posted it yesterday. Eddie Kingston on the Chris Gethard Show. You guys got to check that out.
Nice. Definitely want to check that out. That's awesome.
Fun episode of Impact, Trent. I had a good time watching it. Thumbs up for me. Really no complaints. Nothing to complain about. But that's about it for the episodic discussion. Unless, Trent, you got anything else? Any highlights or pros or cons? Anything you want to discuss before we take a break here and then move on to the news?
No, listen, the episode it's solid, it's concise. The Rebel Entertainment Complex is by far becoming my favorite spot to watch a wrestling show. Everything about it, the crowd, the lights, the look, that brings such a big time feel to Impact. And I think the guys and the girls really, really take to it, man. They really absorb that room, and that makes a world of difference. So the shows come off really well. I mean, I know people, like I said, who did not like Impact, who were always like, I'm not watching it, who have been converted since Slammiversary and going forward with the Rebel shows. That says something. Perception is reality in wrestling. When you see the big presentation, it looks fantastic, and it really gives people an idea of what this company is all about, how much quality is involved. And Florida didn't give. They did the best they could in Orlando, and they did a lot with that room, no question about it. But this crowd is a much better crowd, man. This room is a much better room. That makes a world of difference.
Total Nonstop Impact. Impact talk for Impact fans. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Hey yo, this is the Taxman inviting you all to check out the Six Sided Podcast. We're a weekly Impact Wrestling review show. We're also frequently joined by special guests, and we love interaction from all the Impact Wrestling fans. Throw us in your YouTube machine, give us a subscription, Six Sided Podcast. Also follow us on Twitter at @6_podcast. Boom.
And we're back. Time for the news and rumor report. That's what I'm going with, Trent. The news and rumor report, because I don't want it to call it the news if we discuss rumors as well. So it's the numers. How about the numers?
The numers.
It's the numers. Hit you with the numers, folks. First story here comes from all over the fucking internet. Just broke today. Apparently, Jeff Jarrett is suing Anthem over the failure of the GFW merger.
Man, it's the timing is weird. It's like, oh, now? Why now? He's been gone a while. He's been doing whatever, but it's like, now? Well, what's all this have to do with right now? Is it because Impact's doing hot? The perception's better of the company without him? I started thinking about it on my way home today. I started thinking about he's been trying to promote GFW again. He's had a couple of shows or one show recently. He's trying to get that brand back out there. And I think he needs capital.
Do you think this is a GFW commercial reported by the dirt sheets? Is that really what this is? A publicity stunt?
It's a publicity stunt. This is 100%. On that note, though, hang on. I'm going to give a counterpoint, though. This is a way to get GFW's name, those three letters, back out there. But on the other hand, it's also, I think he also might have a case if it can be proven that they benefited from GFW in any way, if they profited or used it for revenue or for TV without license. Because remember, keep in mind, on shopimpact.com, they're selling the Amped DVDs, which is the GFW shows. I believe they were airing it on the Global Wrestling Network. They've used clips. They've had the belts.
It aired as a pay-per-view. It was on regular pay-per-view before it got to the GWN app.
Right. So Impact has used the belts. They've used the logo on TV, things of that nature. So if there was a licensing deal in place that wasn't honored, he has a case. No question about it. It's a matter of the lawyers getting involved and seeing what exactly were the details of the contract.
Why did he take so long, though, Trent? I wondered, why did he take so long? He went to WWE, did the Hall of Fame thing. Seemed like he was in a good place. Everything was cool. We didn't hear about any of this. You know, it's like he's coming out of nowhere. It's been well over a year.
I think it's because he's trying to get back. I think he's got no revenue coming in right now. Think about it. I mean, he did the Hall of Fame, and he's got some bookings here and there. But what's Jeff Jarrett actually doing though? Like, where's his revenue stream? You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think the guy needs some cash. He needs capital, man. He needs money.
Well, as reported by PW Insider today, Jeff Jarrett and Global Force Entertainment, LLC, have filed a lawsuit against Anthem Sports and Entertainment, the owners of Impact Wrestling. Below are a handful of allegations noted throughout the course of the 26-page lawsuit. I'm reading this off of WrestleZone.com, who are reading it off of PW Insider, it sounds like. But a few highlights here. It's just noted. Violated state and federal trademark infringements in relation to GFE. GFE would be GFW. I guess that's their parent company, Global Force Entertainment, GFE. Violated Jeff Jarrett's exclusive property rights to his own name, photograph, and other likeness. That Anthem has used a reproduction, a counterfeit copy, or a colorable imitation of Global Force Wrestling / GFW and GFW trademarks and commerce. Therefore, they are in violation of the Lanham Act, which prohibits trademark infringement, trademark dilution, and false advertising. The lawsuit also claims violation of the Lanham Act through alleged acts of unfair competition that were done with the intent to deceive the public into believing that goods and services offered or sold by the defendants are made by, approved by, sponsored by, and affiliated with GFE. So really, folks, what this all means, the merger didn't go through, and Jeff Jarrett is trying to sue them for everything that he left on the table. I'm very confused, though, because it's like he got sent home because he was struggling with alcohol addiction, and I'm not making jokes there. That's whatever. Okay, yeah, a little sound effect there. Just goofing, though. But apparently, he's suing for everything that went wrong last year, but I'm just kind of confused because, Trent, I'm thinking Ed Nordholm, I think, I could be wrong here, don't quote me here, but I think Ed Nordholm is like a registered lawyer. Like, I think this guy knows the legal system very, very, very well. He's the man behind Anthem. Len Asper, a very, very rich, powerful guy out in Canada. The Anthem parent company, they have a lot of money. They're very well connected. They're smart is what I'm trying to say. They're not any dummies. I can't imagine that they were stealing from Jeff Jarrett and not paying him any residuals. Maybe a lot of things were done off of handshake deals, and Jeff is going against the code and flushing the whole handshake deal down the toilet and trying to get them in court. I don't really know, but Jeff Jarrett's lawyer sent a response back to PW Insider saying that they have no comment at this time, but they are looking forward to their day in court. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, man. I think they, like you said, Anthem's a bigger company than GFW, and they have more resources here. So I'm gonna put the advantage on the Anthem side because I feel like Ed Nordholm's not an idiot, and Len Asper's not an idiot. They know that if they were doing something of this nature, whether it would bite them or not. So I have a feeling they're much smarter than GFW thinks they are, and GFW has been nothing but a sham from day one.
What's the worst that could happen from this, Trent?
They pay him.
Impact pays them and rips off any GW and well, that comes up to GFW content, but now we're talking about the GWN. And I've thought this for a while, man. Since they split off from becoming GFW and they just went back into Impact and they brought in Scott D'Amore and Don Callis and Jeff Jarrett was far away doing whatever, they still kept the app as GWN, the Global Wrestling Network, still used the green color scheme. And it confused me, like, why didn't they just rebrand it to the Impact Network or the Anthem Network or whatever it could have been. So this might affect the app, but what's going to happen? It's going to go down for a couple months, and they're going to rebrand it and put it back out. We're talking about the people that operate the Fight Network. They are very good at making apps and doing this sort of thing. I don't think this is going to be a big problem, Trent. I mean, and I'm just a fan. I'm just an outsider looking in. But I saw some people on Twitter going crazy, fellow members of the Impact Army, call them that, the Impact Twitter soldiers, our pals. They were pissed. They were going crazy as if this is a real threat towards Impact Wrestling, but I don't really think it's that. I think Jeff Jarrett wants you to believe that, but I don't think this is going to be a thing. I think this will get tossed out, or Impact will have to pay some money. I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
I don't think it'll be a big deal. If anything, they'll be like, here, pay the royalties from any DVD sales of that amped show that they're selling, and maybe some licensing money, but I don't see it as a big deal, man. This is just a way for Jeff to get his letters back out there. But and even the network, Global Wrestling Network with the green, the global part of it is fine. I mean, that he doesn't own Global. You know what I'm saying? They can call it the Global Wrestling Network.
Yeah, it's professional wrestling content from all over the globe. It doesn't necessarily, but the style of the logo with the green and white, I associated it still being connected to GFW.
Yeah, I mean that very well could be. Listen, you can always update a logo and stuff like that. There's no harm in that. If Impact decides, you know what, we're gonna change that logo around, make it look a little more like the current logo we have. That's fine too. Nobody's gonna squawk at that. So I'm fine with it. Yeah, it'll be fine. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything to worry about here, dude. Companies get lawsuits all the time. WWE has lawsuits from people with the concussion thing and the royalties thing. There's all sorts of stuff like this constantly, man.
I'm getting my company back, Karen.
I got no problems with Jeff. I just think this is just a carny move, man.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, it's no different than the Matt Hardy legal situation we saw spill out last year. No different. It's just a Jeff Jarrett thing. Whatever. Moving along here, Trent. A little tidbit here. FSW, Future Stars of Wrestling in Las Vegas. They are hosting an Impact Wrestling tryout and seminar with Executive Vice President Scott D'Amore and Creative Director Sanjay Dutt on Saturday, November 10th at the FSW Arena in Las Vegas. Top participants will be choosing to be a part of Impact's tapings in Vegas on November 11th through November 13th. You can follow FSW on Twitter at FSW Vegas, or check out their website at futurestarsofwrestling.com for more information. Last piece of news here. Rumor, actually. Numerous. This is not news. This is just a rumor talk here. It was reported on the Wrestling Observer newsletter this week that Jericho is closer and closer to working with Impact. This is out of Meltzer's mouth. Meltzer isn't always right, but let's not totally discredit the guy. He does have his sources. He has been right before. Yeah,
he does. And listen, I remember months ago, I said it myself on this show. I said before the end of the year, you'll see it. And I called it then, and I still stand by it. I think it would be awesome, and it would be huge, and it would just keep this wave that wrestling is riding right now of unpredictability and this kind of independence. It would keep it going.
And then last week, Trent, Petey Williams spoke on his podcast. That's the Wrestling Perspective Podcast. You can hear the audio yourself at WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. He spoke a little bit about Chris Jericho coming to Impact, if it were to happen. And he seems totally thumbs up for sure that it's going to happen. He talked about it a little. Check that out, WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. I'm with you, Trent. It's got to happen. He even went a little further and talked about Impact using Jericho to negotiate a new TV deal. Smart business there. And it's just a good get for the company. They are becoming the company of Canada, and why not bring in Chris Jericho? Everything just makes sense. And Chris Jericho has said himself that he feels like it's destined to happen. And just a fan tweeted him recently, just the other day. I think it was Hiveling JD asked him, in between what he's doing with New Japan and his band, will you come work for Impact? And he wrote, of course. So came out of the man's mouth. He said, of course. It's going to happen, Trent.
Inevitable, man. Listen, why not, though? What is there? I mean, even WWE is using like indie people to come in for little stints here and there and whatnot. Why not? What's the harm? Do it. It'd be fun. It would get buzzed. It would get things going. It'd get people talking. It would really cement what wrestling is today, man. So go for it. I think it'd just be fucking fun to see. That's the thing.
Y2J for Impact.
I'm all for it.
I'm on 100%. Board. On board. That's right. You heard it from us, folks. Total Nonstop Impact. We support the idea of Jericho coming into Impact Wrestling. We are thumbs up for it.
Let's see it happen.
Let's see it happen. Who would you like to see him work with? I know I've definitely asked you it in the past, but I'm going to do it again. Who, as of right now, because things change as the shows go by, as the time rolls on, things change. As of right now, Trent, who would you like to see Chris Jericho come into Impact and work with?
Not for the title. I'd like to see him work Austin Aries. I think those two would be freaking gold together. No belt needed, though. No belt needed on that one.
I'm going with Eli Drake. I want to see Eli Drake versus Jericho.
That was my second. I was going to go. I feel Aries and Jericho are there's something that seems like it would just click right there.
That's about it for the news there, folks. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and close out the show. We'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? This is Trent from the Backstage Boys podcast, found on Instagram and Twitter at The BSB Show. Me and my co-host Baz will take you backstage behind the scenes over at AEW Pro Wrestling and other independent promotions around Chicago on what makes the show happen, how production is done, what goes into every little bit, what happens on show day, what goes wrong, what can go right. We take you all there. So check us out on the BSB Show on SoundCloud, iTunes, and again, Twitter and Instagram.
And we're back. Trent, that just about wraps it up for us here on this week's edition of Total Nonstop Impact. Impact Talk for Impact fans. Next week on Impact, well, now technically this week, Allie takes on Su Yung in a non-title match. Scarlett Bordeaux hosts the first episode of The Smoke Show. Joe Hendry battles Eli Drake, and Sami Callihan faces Phoenix. And it's not noted here on the Impact site, but I believe we're going to get Jimmy Jacobs versus Johnny Impact next week, so that'll be cool.
That'd be great, man. I think we got another fun episode packed in this week. Looking forward to it. I'm always looking forward to it. Who the hell am I kidding? I'm constantly looking forward to it. I've never missed a fucking episode since day one.
You got a GWN pick for us this week, Trent? I forgot to ask you. Did you just keep up on that? Do you have a GWN pick for us, for the listeners?
I have one, and I'm going with, drum roll please.
Hold on.
Your GWN pick of the week is Hard Justice 2007. The main event, Hard Justice 2007. Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe, who never had a bad match, but this one is for every TNA title which is on the line. So this is a great card, man. That's headlining it. You got a Doomsday Chamber of Blood match, Sting Abyss and Andrew Martin, which was Test, versus Christian Cage, AJ Styles, and Tomko, which was the Christian Coalition. Pac-Man Jones speaks out on joining TNA in this one. Team 3D versus the Steiner Brothers. Dream match. That's a good match. Ultimate Humiliation match. Eric Young versus Bobby Roode with Tracy Brooks in his corner. Remember Tracy Brooks? That's a.k.a. Mrs. Frankie Kazarian now, if anybody didn't know.
Jergens.
Oh, 100% Jergens. Lots of Jergens. 3 bottles.
Talking about Tracy. And not that there'd be anything wrong with me talking about the dudes, but Tracy. I'm talking about Tracy.
Tracy, yeah, Tracy. We clarify that? Tracy Brooks. Not Bobby Roode and Eric Young. The Wildcat Chris Harris versus Black Rain. Chris Harris, formerly of AMW, and Black Rain, the current Goldust. The original LAX versus the Voodoo Kin Mafia, which was the New Age.
God.
Remember that?
Oh, God. Bringing back memories.
the Barroom Brawl, Rhino and the Cowboy James Storm. That was a fun one. Kaz and Raven. And we had a awesome X Division match here. Triple X took on the Motor City Machine Guns. It was Triple X versus the Motor City Machine Guns versus Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal. You can probably imagine how awesome that match is. But that's it, man. Hard Justice 07. Check it out on the GWN app. Subscribe for only $8 a month.
You heard it, folks. Hey, 2007 was a great year for TNA.
2007 was fun, man. That was a great damn year for TNA.
It was a great year in life in general, man. I had a great time in 2007.
I can't remember 2007 too well, but let's just say it was all right, I guess.
Good times. I was backyard wrestling champion 2007. All right.
Hey,
Talking about my glory days here.
Good guy, good man. Congratulations.
True story. Maybe I'll send you some of that footage sometime. You don't want to see it. Very bad. Very bad. But thanks for listening, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at We Talk Impact. Get the show on iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud by searching Total Nonstop Impact, the exclamation point at the end. I like that. Trent, can you plug Hemi and the BSB show?
Yeah. Follow me personally at Vanilla Joke on Twitter. That's like a vanilla Coke, but not a Coke, a joke. And follow my band Hemi at Hemi Music on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and everything. It's all Hemi Music, HEMIMUSIC, or HemiMusic.com. And then follow me at the BSB Show, the Backstage Boys podcast that I do with my co-host Basil, where we talk independent wrestling, the backstage aspect of what goes into making the show. Follow that on SoundCloud and iTunes at the Backstage Boys podcast.
Total Nonstop Impact. Impact Talk for Impact fans. Don Callis quote of the week. We're out of here, folks.
God, these people have horrible voices. You hear this? Pick a key, for God's sake.